Yashodanandana Brajarandana Jamunatiravanam Sari Jamunatiravanam Sari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaganarandana Jashodanandana Jaganarandana Jamunatiravanam Sari Jamunatiravanam Sari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaudapimanande. Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa. Parivrajagachajasto Tarasapta Sri Samad, His Divine Grace, Shirabai Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri La Prabhupada ki, Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Hari Nam Sankirtan ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Nitai Gauda Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksurandaritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Sya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpatayubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaisnavebhyo namo namaha Narayanam namaskritya Dharam chaiva narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayam. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the Supremost Human Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayeshabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil. And loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttamasloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Granthara, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukam karoti vacharam pangum langayate girim. Yat kripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Reading from first canto. Number? Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Correct. We're getting close to the end, I believe. Yeah. So today we are reading text number 40, 42, yeah. There will be two other verses, the two last verses, 43 and 44. So text 42. Sa tu samsravayam asa maharajam parikshitam prayopavistam gangayam paritam paramarshibihi satu samsravayam asa maharajam parikshitam paryopavistam gangayam paritam paramarshibihi satu samsravayam asa maharajam parikshitam prayopavistam gangayam paritam paramarshibihi satu samsravayam asa maharajam parikshitam prayopavistam gangayam Paritam Paramarshibhi. Tatu samsravayam masa Maharajam Parikshitam Prayo Pavistam Gangayam Paritam Paramarshibihi. Satu samsravayam asam Maharajam Parikshitam Prayopavistam Gangayam Paritam Paramarshibihi. Satu samsravayam asam Maharajam Parikshitam Prayopavistam Gangayam Paritam Paramarshibihi. Let them read themselves. Yeah. Samsra. Satu samsravayam asa Maharajam Parikshitam Ganga Paro. Yeah. Paritam Paramarshibihi. Yes. Saha, the son of Vyasadeva. Two, again, Samsravayam, Samsravayam, Samsravayam asa. Make them audible. Maharajam. Okay. There is Raja and there is Maharaja. So, okay. Raja means king and Maharaja, emperor, yes. Unto the emperor. Unto the emperor. Parikshitam. Of the name Parikshit. Praya Upavistam, who sat until death without food or drink. Gangayam, on the bank of the Ganges. Paritam, being surrounded. Paramarishibi. Paramarishibihi, by great sages. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, in his turn delivered the Bhagavatam to the great Emperor Parikshit, surrounded by sages on the bank of the Ganges, awaiting death without taking food or drink. Kindly repeat after me. Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, in his turn delivered the Bhagavatam to the great Emperor Parikshit, who sat surrounded by sages on the bank of the Ganges, awaiting death without taking food or drink. Purport. All transcendental messages are received properly in the chain of disciplic succession. This disciplic succession is called parampara. Unless, therefore, Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literatures are received through the parampara system, the reception of knowledge is not bona fide. Vyasadeva delivered the message to Shukadeva Goswami, and then from Shukadeva Goswami, Suta Goswami received the message. One should therefore receive the message of Bhagavatam from Suta Goswami or from his representative and not from an irrelevant interpreter. Emperor Parikshit received the information of his death in time, and he at once left his kingdom and family and sat down on the bank of the Ganges to fast till death. All great sages, rishis, philosophers, mystics, etc., went there due to his imperial position. They offered many suggestions about his immediate duty. And at last, it was settled that he would hear from Shukadeva Goswami about Lord Krishna. Thus, the Bhagavatam was spoken to him. Sripad Shankaracharya, who preached Mayavad philosophy and stressed the impersonal feature of the Absolute, also recommended that one must take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, for there is no hope of gain from debating. Indirectly, Sripad Shankaracharya admitted that he had preached, that what he had preached in the flowery grammatical interpretation of the Vedanta Sutra cannot help one at the time of death. This is the recommendation of all great transcendentalists. Shukadeva Goswami had long ago stated the same truth, that at the end one must remember Narayana. That is the essence of all scriptural activities. In pursuance of this eternal truth, Srimad Bhagavatam was heard by Emperor Parikshit, and it was recited by the able Shukadeva Goswami. And both the speaker and the receiver of the messages of Bhagavatam were duly delivered by the same medium. Translation again. Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, in his turn delivered the Bhagavatam to the great emperor Parikshit, who sat surrounded by sages on the bank of the Ganges, awaiting death without taking food or drink. the importance of parampara is being explained. The importance of parampara is an eternal system or process which is also explained by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsayo viduhu. I will speak this knowledge to you which is coming down through disciplic succession. So this is a very important principle, that the subject matter of transcendence, transcendental subject matters, to be effective can only be received by proper authority. Mahajana Jainagata Sapantaha, by Mahajans. There are 12 Mahajans. One of them is actually Shukadeva Goswami. It is also nicely explained how this is the subject matter, why it is important to hear, especially from Srimad Bhagavatam. Why is it that when Parikshit Maharaj came to know about the curse of his imminent death, within 7 days he would leave his body, he immediately decided, although he was having such a great responsibility or position, he was the emperor of the whole world, he immediately left everything. Generally, people who are surrounded by wealth and high post or position, they generally are reluctant to leave. Even death is just around the corner. So he left everything and went to the bank of the Ganges. And here it mentions that he was surrounded by so many saintly persons and kings and other important personalities. It is explained that actually Vyasadeva himself was present. Narada Muni, even some of the demigods came. Even though they were such personalities as Srila Vyasadeva and Narada Muni were present, it was decided that this young 16-year-old boy, when Shukadeva Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, he was only 16 years of age. Everyone recognized him as the proper authority to speak on the Bhagavatam. Why it is important to hear the Bhagavatam, especially when we are about to leave our body? What's the main reason mentioned here? Because there's nice verses. Ante Narayana Smriti. Ante, at the end of life, Smriti, one should remember Narayana accidentally by calling his son Accidentally means because so our whole moment, Parikshit Maharaj, and then within one moment, the body will be here, but our consciousness will be someplace. It's a In the Bhagavatam, it explains that the change of body is like, just like sometimes in the rainy season or when there's some rain, some lightning, a jolt of lightning will come. Death is like that. From one moment to another, we are in a completely different situation. Therefore, here also it is explained how to prepare oneself. Actually, here Srila Prabhupada explains how when Parikshit Maharaj received the news of his death within 7 days, he knew exactly what to do. He retired completely, you know, from everything, from family, from his duties and responsibility as an emperor, and he went to the Ganges, to the banks of the Ganges, simply wanting to prepare himself for that critical moment. And here it is mentioned that he completely stopped eating and drinking. One of our devotees, one family came yesterday, and it was very interesting. He just happened to mention about some devotees living close to where he is, and he, he told me, one of your disciples, he's now 65, and he's become very serious. He's stopped taking grains. He's only taking fruits, but he's going out every day preaching. And I was thinking, wow, he has nicely understood, because don't put it there. Yeah, putting it on Krishna's head. Yeah. The Bhagavatam actually explains that in old age, when one no longer can digest, you know, because in old age the body starts to break up. It is called the dwindling phase of life. There are 6 phases. We are born, then the body develops, then the body produces some byproducts, children, or, you know, cats or dogs, whatever, byproducts. Then the body stays for some time. 4. Number 5, what's number 5? To be born, to develop, to have byproducts, to stay for some time, and then to dwindle. What does dwindle mean? You cannot understand now, but very soon you will, because old age comes very quickly. Dwindling, the body starts to get old and it cannot hear. so clearly, cannot see. The senses begin to fail us in different ways. And then the last one is swaha, death. We leave this body. So therefore, in the Bhagavatam it mentions that when one reaches, of course, it may even before or happen before death, that we cannot digest. Unless we are able to digest, we cannot maintain this body. This body which is referred to as yantra, machine. It's a machine, material machine. So therefore in the Bhagavatam it recommends that whenever that happens, then the best thing to do is simply to fast. To fast and leave one's body in this way. So this is what Parikshit Maharaj did. He, after it was decided that of all the great personalities present, best is to hear from this young boy, because in those days, great rishis, simply by looking at somebody, they could understand his level of consciousness. By looking at the physiognomy. That's a whole science in itself. So they requested Shukadeva Goswami, who had received this, as we read yesterday, this sara, this cream, this cream of the Vedic knowledge from his father, Srila Vyasadeva. So when he began to explain and recite the Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj, who was himself a great devotee of the Lord, fully became absorbed, completely absorbed in hearing the wonderful descriptions of the Bhagavatam. And that went on. It's like sometimes we get into some conversation with somebody and we talk and talk, oh, forgot about the time. Already 1 hour is gone, or 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever, isn't it? When our mind becomes absorbed, we forget about the time. So, in this way, Parikshit Maharaj, these two great personalities, Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, and therefore, what are the 9 processes of devotional service? That's only 2. Yes, it begins. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Parasevanam, Arsanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Yeah. So the first 2, Sravanam, hearing, that personality who personified hearing is Parikshit Maharaj. He heard uninterruptedly, non-stop, 7 days and also 7 nights, without taking any food or drinking. And then kirtanam, speaking or reciting that personality, of course, is Shukadeva Goswami. So our whole, therefore, Vedic culture is very clear on this understanding that even if your material life is totally unsuccessful, whatever you try to do, you fail. Even if you are a total failure in material life, but if you are developed in Krishna consciousness, your life is successful. And the opposite is true. If you are a, fully successful, if you become a millionaire, nowadays to become a millionaire is not a very big thing. Uh, one is looked upon if he's a billionaire, many times millionaire. Yeah. It used to be millionaire, now it's millionaire is very common. Billionaire. So if you become very successful in life and you're able to do so many things and so many people respect you, but if you are a failure in spiritual life, if you don't know what is the goal of life, if you're not self-realized, then actually you are a failure. So what determines one's success in life is not one's material situation or material success, real success, because that is the goal or the aim of life. So Vedic culture therefore has this built-in arrangement. Built-in arrangement means from the very beginning of one's life, even before one is born, the living entity within the womb of the mother is blessed from for those who follow the first samskara, the Garbhadhana samskara. And in this way, so many samskaras are performed the whole one's whole life in this way is nicely arranged, regulated. One continuously becomes nourished. Just like every day we are eating food, the body becomes nourished. But what is most important, more important, is to nourish that very critical moment of his life, just before he leaves. But the vast majority of people don't have that 7 days notice. Actually, everyone also has 7 days notice because there are 7 days in the week, either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. One of those days, so everyone has Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Sunday. One is all the main problems of life, and therefore um, one is a few other nice points. Yeah. Yes. So, or informing us that even wrote commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. He didn't. Will help us to. We'll do once more. Sages on the bank of the Ganges, awaiting death. It's the time that Srila Vyasadeva delivered this knowledge or gave this knowledge to his son, Shukadeva Goswami. And even before that, actually, because by giving this knowledge, by distributing this knowledge, Srimad Bhagavatam will become it's